dude.
Should I say it again, Dustin,
I
for
don't
the
have any
official
jelly.
recording?
For the people in the back.
For the people in the back row.
Ryan is dressed like an inmate again.
Wow, that didn't come off as well as it did the first time.
No, it didn't.
No, you can't.
I
You can't.
tried.
You cannot
Can't redo
recapture
it.
magic. Magic happens once, and
That's
and
good.
off it goes.
That's good, Brittany. There was a time that you might have just let that pass and not say anything. So it's good that you
The instant,
Kind of like a fart in public.
the
exactly.
instant that your picture came up, that's what I thought of. I had a flashback to
Wow.
the episode before. I'm pretty sure it was with Dad and Matt when Matt
You know,
said,
that's the reason Ryan has that beard to hide his stretch marks around his mouth.
Oh man!
How was it? Wow.
He did hard
All-
time.
All that coming from Dildo Baggins over
I
there.
know.
I thought all that hair was because he was trying to catch a fly or something.
No.
It's
Nope.
a penis. It's a penis hair trap.
That's
Oh
what
yeah.
it
No
is.
kidding.
It just sucks them in.
Literally.
"Whew."
Welcome back to the Five Dirty Bikers podcast.
Presented by Memphis Shades, the clear choice for custom windshields and fairings for your motorcycle. And Wild Ass Seats, stay in the saddle longer and in total comfort no matter your butt or budget.
Oh.
We
Dude,
went
Tony's
from-
looking like Santa Claus over there. His beard's lost all its color.
Boy, it's all the pigment's
Ooh.
gone.
Either that or you've been smiling like a donut, too.
Yeah, it's-
Tony's beard got glazed.
looks like a Krispy Kreme.
And this will have to be after the first 10 seconds of our YouTube video.
Yes.
Hey, no one
Just
said
look at your
fuckity fuck
watch.
fuck yet. So
Yeah.
No, but we were talking about vajayjays, and then you jumped on, and we went to talking about vajayjays.
Oh boy.
Well,
And there you go.
there it is.
That's for sure.
Happy Monday.
Yeah, no shit.
Happy
I
Monday.
was doing much better down on the couch. You fuckers, it's a hard crowd up here.
I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to go to sleep. I did not sleep good last
It's
night.
fucking 7:00 now.
I know, I
You
was
act like
freaking
you're like
tired.
90.
Right.
No, 90-year-olds
You know, there's
stay
no-
up longer than
there-
I do.
There's nowhere to go from here. If you're going to bed at 7:00 now, Brittany, you might as well just hang it up. Man, call the coroner. Have him come pick
I'm
you
fine
up.
with this.
Dinner at 3 p.m. Early bird special.
That's first
No,
dinner.
that's too early.
You don't want
for
them to
early
run out
bird,
of
man.
Salisbury steak.
Hey, what's wrong with Salisbury steak?
I love
Brittany-
Salisbury steak.
Brittany's
I
gonna
might
get
have to
old.
make some for dinner this week.
Brittany's gonna get old. She's gonna get up at the crack at 11:00, put in her dentures, have a little soup. She'll be
bed
back
at
in bed
4.
by 3.
Put on some Matlock and Murder
You
She
go to
Wrote.
the-
I think they're back to back on Nick at Night now.
Fall asleep watching Golden Girls. You know what?
Fun
you know what,
fact.
you know what Dave calls Golden Girls, don't you? He calls Golden Girls Bumble.
A good time.
Oh, God.
Thank you for being a friend.
No comment.
His face is so funny. Fun fact for you guys. You brought
What's
up
that?
Matlock. Back in grade school, I had pneumonia, and the entire month that I was stuck at home, I watched Matlock reruns over and over again, like
That
every
doesn't surprise
fucking
me in
day.
the least
That
bit.
explains
We
a
didn't
lot.
have cable.
Did you watch what the hell was that? What was that Michael Landon show after Bonanza? Where he
Oh,
was
the
the
angel
Little
deal?
House on the Prairie?
No. After
No.
No,
Oh,
the angel
fuck,
deal?
the heaven one.
Highway to Heaven. Highway to Heaven.
Highway to Heaven. That was
Does not sound familiar.
Oh, that was Michael Landon classic. You need to. She's gonna be going on Nick at Night watching some Highway to Heaven tonight before bed.
No, you know me. I'm going to bed right after we're done at recording.
You're probably
Brittany, you,
not.
I ain't
you really
watching
need to
shit.
stay up just a touch later.
Yeah, you
No,
probably
no,
should.
no. It's better
Yeah.
to just get sleep.
There's a lot of shit that happens after 6:30.
There's a lot of stuff that goes down between 6 and
Like the
11.
news.
Yeah.
The news.
How was everyone's weekend, man? Tony did something this weekend that's just about unheard of.
I know. I was out. I was gone.
You were gone. So what was the occasion, Tony?
Jay is planning this fucking cross country trip on his Beamer, so we went out just for a long ride. He wanted to go for a long ride. So
You going with him on said long trip?
no, man, he's taking like 2 weeks to do it.
Okay.
Is he doing
solo
a
thing.
solo country trip?
Yeah, he's ordering tents and all kinds of shit.
Wow.
Does he have the patience for that?
I don't know. We're gonna find out.
He's
Good
gonna
question.
he's gonna get to Indiana and he's gonna be like, "Fuck this," and he's gonna
Yeah.
he's gonna fly home and have his bike shipped back.
Yeah, no. So yeah, he was like, I want to do this trip, and he's been talking about and ordering stuff, and he goes, "You want to go for a long ride?" And I was like, "Fuck it, let's go." So we did.
All right.
Jay, if
Wow.
you're watching, do that more often.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that
Where'd
the
you-
trip that he was planning to do on his Grom last year before that got stolen?
No. This he's thinking that he wants to go to Malibu. So from here to Malibu.
Okay. Ride the PCH on that bike.
Yeah. I was thinking. What I don't know what the route is. He was I don't know what he's doing.
Has
I gotta
he
get-
ever done a trip like that? Has he ever ridden that?
He's never
that
gone
far?
that far. He's done 400 or 500 miles before, but he's never done something that far.
You might
Well,
want to
good
hook
for
him
him.
up with Wit. Get some
Yeah.
tips from Wit.
She's insane. This trip that she's planning, this newest
Yeah.
one. Have you seen that? The quick trip planning thing or whatever.
Yeah, I'm
10,000. Is it? I don't know what the miles is. It's ridiculous.
Is she going to every gas station? Tony
She's
would
going to
go?
every
Yeah.
quick trip in the upper Midwest, or no, or
Wow.
all of them. All
Yeah.
of them, I think.
So what? How far? Because I saw online the other day because Sandoval's right in the middle, just started his tour.
Yep.
What is it? It's 20,000 miles or something. 25,000 miles.
It's a lot.
Who's Sandoval's?
Yeah.
Yeah, his is something like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a long way, man. And the logistics of being able to,
Yeah.
hit all those dealers at the times that he needs to hit them. That has to be a nightmare.
They're
That's
trying to get that
sponsored
down.
though, right? Isn't that sponsored?
He's sponsored by Harley.
By Harley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all his other sponsors too are chipping in. Cardo, Ciro, all of them.
Yeah, well,
Because he's stopping at our dealership, and they pretty much got it down to like a science, like where he's there at the time that he's supposed to be there, and then kickstands up at the time that he's supposed to leave, like to the minute.
Yeah. Well, he has to be like at the next one. So
Well, he's
it's-
trying to do 2 a day.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're lucky because we're the last one of the day on a Friday. And I don't know.
Oh, nice.
I don't know about his plans if he's going to be staying like in Alton or if he's going to ride a couple hours to the next dealership, because I think I'll have to look again to see where he's going after us, but he's not far from some nice hotels in Alton. I'll have to find out.
It looks like he's going to be up. I haven't looked. I saw the map,
Yeah.
and he's going to be at the Fargo dealership in North Dakota. But I don't know what the time and the date is, because at that point it would make sense for him to just cross across Minnesota into Wisconsin. So I would guess he'll be up near Fargo probably towards the end of that trip. That'd be my guess.
Is he going to the wood chipper plant while he's up there in North Dakota?
That was filmed in Brainerd, Minnesota. Just so you know,
Brainerd,
Minnesota.
Brainerd.
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
It's all the same up there.
It is
It
not
is.
all the same.
It's all the
kind
same.
of all the same up
It-
there,
it-
man.
it's
fucking
all
cold.
uninhabitable.
It's not all uninhabitable.
But seriously,
It's all if you sat on the porch with no underwear on, your nuts would stick.
Dude,
mean, that's
they'd,
what
they'd be
you're
frozen
dealing with.
off, man.
This isn't Kentucky. I mean, our at least our family
Wait,
trees
hold
have
on.
branches in them.
Hold on. Wouldn't they be shrunk back up inside of you?
That was solid. That was solid. God damn. Can't argue with that.
Ryan is coming out like Ali tonight. Man.
He's out there
Dropping
swinging.
bombs.
It's because it's getting
He's just dancing around motherfuckers.
it's starting to get warm up there, dude. It's like 30,
I know he's getting giddy.
30 degrees. He's
Yeah.
so
So
thawing out.
so let's get back to it. No, because Tony did legitimately ride. What did you ride this weekend, Tony?
It was almost 200, 190 and change.
190. Nice.
That's
Yeah,
a good day.
190 something and change.
It's a good day.
And did you guys like stop and have lunch, or were you just pretty much just riding around?
We for a full tank, we were nonstop.
Okay.
And then after that, we stopped and gassed up, and then kind of just lollygagged back.
So did you get that new pipe on your bike yet?
No, not yet. Still waiting on a baffle.
Okay. So you're riding with that loud motherfucker that's on there.
Yeah, but man, that fucking bike's I don't know. It's fucking nice. I mean, it is.
Sick, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good bike.
And
And
your gas mileage went down, didn't it?
Yeah, my gas mileage kind of sucks. I get about I got about 100, maybe 160. I could have probably went a little bit further,
Right.
but you know that gas gauge, man. Once when it gets to half, it goes pretty quick.
Yeah.
It just starts gargling.
Yeah, it does. Can't
what
hear
she
you,
said.
Dave.
That's because I'm on mute.
No,
Wow. Have I been on mute this whole time?
that's
No.
why
What's
it was
that?
going so good.
Wow. Sorry.
Oh, another haymaker.
There you go.
The bombs are just going.
I think
There
it
you
was
go.
since Ryan's family tree comment.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go. Let me ask you, Tony, because I went on a trip this weekend. Nomad Matt from our Patreon group and I went down. I noticed a huge difference in the mileage. I going down, my mileage sucked. It was like I got like 35 miles a gallon, which usually before I did the stage 2, I was getting 40, 41. On the way
Yeah.
back, we took a different leisurely route. I was leading the first one, riding like a hooligan. On day 2, coming back, we weren't, and I got just over 40 miles a gallon. So how were you riding compared to your normal style?
We did quite a few miles on the expressway, so we were honking.
Were you doing like 80 or 85?
Yeah, we were like 80, 85.
Yeah.
most of the time, and yeah, and that it sucked it down pretty good. On the way back, not so. Like you said, it may have been a little bit better. We kind of lollygagged. We took some back roads and kind of went over to Bluegrass and then snaked back to the house. But
So, Dave, just a suggestion. So your stage 2 is fully done now, right?
Yeah.
And how many miles do you have on your stage 2 so far?
Probably about 1,000.
Okay, so maybe because you'll do that this season, when you get to that say 3,000 to 4,000 mile mark, pull the spark plugs on this without taking your gas tank on. Pull the spark plugs on that side of the motor and take a look and see what they look like. If they're white, you might be running rich.
Good idea.
Ryan, did you upgrade your spark plugs to like a more premium?
anything would have been an upgrade.
Oh yeah.
I mean, a fucking match would have been an upgrade.
Yeah. So yeah, we should definitely talk about service intervals and what you should be and shouldn't be servicing on your bike, or at least having serviced for sure. We need to talk about that tonight because I did a little tune up on my bike this weekend, and I didn't change oil. I'll change oil probably before my first trip this year. So I'll run the oil from last year until I get ready to do my first trip, and then I'll change halfway through the season. But so I pulled my spark plugs. Now, let's keep in mind that I do know that I think
Let's
they
use the
change it-
correct term. You pulled the plug. There was no spark left.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
You pulled the plug out of it.
Yeah, so I think the recommendation is at 20,000 miles. I think I'm at somewhere between 30 and 35 right now. So I know that I'm over the miles that's of what you're supposed to have. Obviously, I've done stage 1 and now a stage 2 with the cam kit in there and still have the same plugs. So last year during the season, there was a couple of times before I did the stage 2 that we would be on a long trip and I would get a check engine light or a error code, and it would only stay on the bike for a period of time and it would go away. It wouldn't stay on. And so I didn't really think anything of it. I'm like, the error code went away. It's probably not that big of a deal. And then we did the stage 2 and I've got the FP3 on there so I can check any error codes that might pop up or check engine lights that could pop up. But I think after pulling the spark plugs that I was probably getting a misfire because one of my spark plugs the little sparky element thing. I don't even know what's
The
that called, Tony?
electrode
The electrode
was gone.
completely gone. Gone. Nowhere.
Hmm.
So I was probably getting a terrible spark, and that was on one of the spark plugs that were on the outside of my motor. So could be where the fuel first enters. I don't know enough about the motor to know what that looks like, where the fuel gets injected in.
I think
but,
they were just worn out, man.
But yeah, those spark plugs had seen better days. The ones underneath the gas tank were more corroded and weathered than the ones on the outside. And the ones on the outside just were, I mean, they were all blown out. All of them were blown out real bad, but one of them looks like it was barely giving me a spark.
It
So-
probably wasn't giving you a spark.
Well, your
You're
bike's
probably
been
only
in
firing one.
fucking storage for 10 months. They just got rusted from not riding.
They rusted out.
Yeah.
No. So
Corrosion.
it's for sure now. And I would say this, if you're good with tools and you like to wrench on your own bike, take the time and do that job yourself. And the only reason why I say that is it's not hard at all. It's not hard to take your gas tank off. I mean, I think in total on my bike, it was one connector that I think goes to your fuel pump.
Yeah,
and
it's your fuel pump.
your fuel pump and your speedo, and then the other connector goes to the fuel indicator on the gas cap indicator thing, and those are the only two connectors, and I think it's 6 bolts, and you lift your whole tank off, and then obviously the connector for the fuel, which on the newer bikes is a quick disconnect, so it's super easy, not messy at all. Try to make sure you don't have a full fucking tank, otherwise that thing weighs about 75 pounds. But I had probably about a quarter tank of gas. I lifted that thing off, put it on the ground. Obviously, you have a good opportunity to clean the top of your motor, your frame, all of that crap you can clean off because it's going to be hideously dirty. And the spark plugs, changing the spark plugs literally takes 10 minutes. It's good to have a second set of hands. I had the guys come over, and Bob and Nick actually did the most of the work for me. But it's a super easy job, but I was blown away with how bad those spark plugs looked. They were really bad.
Well, look at you, Ryan. One episode with Patrick from J&P Cycles, and you turn into a fucking mechanic.
He starts
Dude.
pulling this shit off,
I'm
man.
telling you.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing brake pads probably before the end of the season. So,
Same.
yeah. So, I mean, it's it made me think of, we think about the 3, dumping all your fluids and that
You
kind of
don't have
stuff
a
on
bottle of
regular
Pennzoil
basis.
in your bedroom, do you?
Not in my bedroom.
That you're looking at nowadays? Turn your
no.
mom's picture around, get the lotion out.
Just
What
a
do you,
bu-
that's what he
Put
used
the,
for
put the
lube.
Amsoil on the counter.
Put the abs oil, yeah. Put the abs oil on the
Put
skin.
the Amsoil right in plain sight.
I got a question for all 4 of you. Now, 3 of you are stage 2. Brittany and I are both stage 1. I'm going to ask the 3 of you guys because you're all stage 2. Have you guys noticed any increase in D-cell pop?
I have none.
None.
No, I don't have any.
It
either.
depends on your tune. I mean,
Yeah, I
you
think
guys,
that's
you
more
have,
of a
you have to
tune.
tune that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
that's
you.
what
I know
was
you
gonna say.
can, but I didn't know if that was something that was still occurring in a stage 2 or not.
I didn't have any before, and I don't have any now.
didn't
I
know
had a
either.
little bit, probably my first tank,
Okay.
but after I
Are
put a
you-
few
you
miles
have some,
on,
Dustin?
didn't.
I do. So I'm gonna probably tomorrow, before I head to work, I'm gonna probably plug my FP3 back in and reduce some of that because there's 3
Yeah,
settings
they have
on
that D-cell
FP3.
pop firecracker thing, man. It's
How much
easy as
you
shit.
can put how
Yeah.
much you want. You just put the single firecracker. But I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't know because I have more than I thought I would after having this set of pipes and the tune done.
Yeah.
But what about you, Brittany? Are you the same way?
I don't notice any, but I don't think I had that much of it before changing my
You've got a better
exhaust.
tuner than me, anyway.
But like the tune definitely made a difference because I've said before, my bike handles so much better now since tuning it.
Did you retune it after you put those pipes on, Dustin?
Yeah.
Did
It's
you
a
get
totally
You may
different,
just have to
totally
tweak
different
it.
bike, sound wise and performance wise. And I love these pipes because even at just like cruising speeds, if I set the cruise, you got that low, constant hum like a muscle car, and I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's balls.
Those are really good sounding pipes. That you
They
have.
are, man. I'm so glad I finally.
You mean
got
it,
put
it
'em on.
doesn't sound like a Tesla?
No.
Singer.
No.
It's a singer sewing machine.
Singer.
Singer.
Yeah, I don't hear that anymore either. The sewing machine sound. No.
But it really, I pulled those spark plugs and it really just made me think about, there are probably some things in the service intervals that we maybe overlook, like I said, because we always think about the fluids before Tony asked me if I was jerking off to AMSOIL.
Jack,
With
Jack-
AMSOIL.
with
With
Yeah.
AMSOIL. With,
There you go.
with
Whatever.
With it
AMSOIL
and
and
to
the bottle on the counter.
Yeah.
it'll handle a 12 stroke.
Tony just goes straight for the jar of peanut butter.
Yeah, that's a
And
sick
call the
stroke.
dog.
Poor Doug.
Oh,
Poor Doug. I'll give Doug a new
Oh,
home.
Dougie.
Oh boy. So, you probably just looking over some of the things that are things that you could do that are definitely definitely modifications, or not modifications, definitely tuning, straight tune-up things, brakes, spark plugs, these other things that aren't really that difficult that you should pay attention to,
And
because
spark plugs are cheap too, man. What is it, $20 for 4 of them? If that.
yeah, $20 for 4 really fucking good ones.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, they're good. These are all pre-gapped, so you don't have to check the gaps on them. So,
No, the
there you go
spark
for
plugs
that.
it's an easy thing, and you should change them.
How
I would say
often
change
should
them.
you change them?
What does Harley
know-
recommend? 20,000?
Harley recommends 20,000. Now,
I would do it every 10, man. It's a fucking $20
I'm
thing.
on my second
Yeah.
set. I'm almost to 19,000 miles,
Yeah.
I think.
Yep. I reached out to a buddy of mine, and he said that he knows a few guys, and he's a certified Harley tech, and he said he knows a few guys that change their spark plugs every time they change their oil because it's just not very expensive, and it does truly affect how your bike runs and your fuel economy.
Well, I
so
mean, dude, let me tell you what. Get a fouled spark plug or a couple of them, you're stuck on the side of the fucking road.
yeah,
I think
for
I'm going to
sure.
buy me a new set this week and change those
Yeah.
pretty soon when it warms
Yeah.
back up. I mean, it's been warm enough to ride, but we had some beautiful 70-degree weather here lately. And then it rained and we had tornadoes coming through here, then it cooled right back off.
Yeah, it got cold here too, man. We had a frost this morning.
We got a freeze
Yeah.
alert for tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
we
we
had one
had
the
that
other day.
today. So
And it
trying to
was
grow
88
grass.
degrees a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
it was a little
Yeah.
chilly Saturday too when we were out. And I was definitely out of my comfort zone.
So you went on a long ride. Did you have your little bags or your big bags?
I had the little bags, the little thrashing essentials on there.
Okay.
That and I had on my 5 Dirty Biker sweatshirt, and I almost froze to death.
Really? Wow. That's not anything negative about the sweatshirt. The sweatshirt's high quality. Buy merch. It'll keep you warm.
Yeah,
But it won't keep you from freezing to death.
it won't keep you from
Not
freezing.
if you're riding in 30
It was very
degrees now.
it was very deceiving, because you stepped out in the sun and you were like, "Oh, it's kind of nice," you know what I mean?
Minus
And you started
15.
riding, you're like, "Fuck, it's cold."
Take,
Yeah.
take 15 away from
Yeah.
your standing temperature.
Yeah, we got that on Sunday coming back from Portsmouth. It was chilly. We were on the ocean. So it was super chilly.
So did you do a sleepover, Dave, or when you rode this weekend, or was it just a straight?
Yeah, we
day?
did an overnight. We didn't sleep over. We didn't share a room, but we did an overnight trip. Went down to Portsmouth on Saturday. I don't know if you guys have you guys ever been there? Bayside Harley Davidson.
No,
Holy shit!
Does
That's
Zach Morris own it?
Who?
Zach Morris?
Oh yeah, funny. Very interesting dealership, but they do a bike week at the dealership. So they had a bunch of vendors, and the Bare Knuckles crew was there doing a stunt show, and that was super interesting. I've not seen them before.
Nice.
That was really cool.
those fucking stunt riders, dude.
And we
That's
hung
crazy
out at a pub for dinner and smoked a couple cigars and headed back the next morning.
That sounds like a good time.
It was.
Junkyard Kenny, he's a pretty famous stunt rider he's from Alton, so he's in the dealership quite a bit whenever he's home. He's usually out like in Cali and stuff doing he's actually, he's sponsored and everything, so he gets to do this stuff for a living, which is awesome. But he came in last week, and I chatted with him for a little while, tried to get on this show. He sounded like he was
Nice.
he just rode in doing a fucking wheelie. I'm like, this fucking guy. It's like, Kenny's here.
I'm going to tell you all, you've probably heard this before, but if you ever see me doing a wheelie, you call 911 immediately. Shit has gone wrong.
Tony, what would be a like a tune-up thing on your bike that you think that a person should check that might not be one of the regular things that you do besides your fluids?
Man, that's a tough. I think just going over the bike, and people give me
T-clocks.
shit all the time about cleaning my bike, but when you clean it, you get to look at it.
Yeah,
You know
that's a
what I
good
mean?
point.
You get to look at the brake pads. You get to check some fasteners and things like that. I think you look at your brakes. Obviously, you've made the point on spark plugs. I think those are, at least in my group of friends, it's overlooked.
Right.
Nobody thinks about it,
Right.
especially
Yeah.
on a fuel injected bike, because they don't foul out as bad as they did in a carbureted bike. So on a fuel injected bike, it's something you really don't have to worry about as much, but they do need to be changed. Brake pads, I think you need to check,
Right.
because depending on, you could look at your front, but if you're a back brake, if you're a trail breaker, man, your rear brakes might be shot.
No, I can attest to that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
so-
have that problem, Percy?
Yeah, I think I had 10,000 miles when I went up to Canada.
Yeah.
And I thought I had an issue. I did have an issue. It turned out to need new brake pads.
Yeah.
So
Rear.
let me ask you guys, how often do you all do a walk around to check the functionality of all your lights on your bike?
I do that
Almost
every time I
almost
bring
every
it
ride.
in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you? Brittany, do you do that?
I don't think I check much of anything. I'm pretty terrible at it right now.
I'll tell you, another thing to look at that I don't know how much people do it is adjust your clutch.
Yeah.
It's
Mine-
not a complicated
You'd
procedure
think that you
to
would
do.
notice that too. Like
Mine, I can't. I have hydraulic clutch on mine.
Oh yeah, well, but everybody else,
Yeah.
yeah.
it's an easy adjustment, and it really does make a difference.
I do it once
So-
a year when I drop all my fluids. I do it once a year.
The other thing I think that's been overlooked, and I recognized this last year, and Walter actually last year asked me a question about it, and I answered the question, but I didn't think about it. If you have messed around with your handlebars on a touring bike or like a Road King, for instance, you have to take your headlight out, and you take that headlight out 2 or 3 times, and that sucker is not going to be in the right position anymore.
Right.
So you should probably at least once a season check your headlights to make sure that they're angled and positioned correctly for where you want them to shine down the road. And when I say where you want them to shine, the factory is going to set a bike up the way that the factory standards are. But if you like your headlight to flash more on the ground, if you like it to be further ahead, if you like it to be straight ahead, you can do all those adjustments on your headlight, and you can adjust, the aft and the pitch and all of that thing, all of those of your.
I
of your
have to
headlight
point
get it.
mine down.
That's
You have to
because
point
have
yours
the
down?
fucking sun
Well,
on
you
the
got-
front
you
of
got
the
that
bike.
big
Because I'm
ass
blind,
light, man.
everybody. I'm going down the road.
You got that
Right.
LP89 or whatever the hell it
You've
is.
got you got a
LP9,
special switch
LP6.
just to dim it because it's too damn bright.
Do you know what else? I bet you nobody's done that you don't even
What's
think
that?
about is flushing your brake fluid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And that
or just checking the brake fluid level. Like that's
Well,
something we probably forget about.
that's one thing, but the Harleys use a .4, which soaks up moisture really fast, so it can get a lot of water in it
Sure.
relatively quickly. And flushing the brake system, something I bet you everybody overlooks.
Now, Tony, is it hard? And I'm going to be honest. I have never serviced a brake system. Are they hard to service?
It
If
depends
you
on your
don't
bike.
if you don't introduce air into the system, it's a piece of cake.
Okay.
So like if you have a vacuum at the bottom, like a brake bleeder on the
Yeah.
on the caliper itself, make sure the reservoir is full, open up the valve, let it suck it out, close it, put more fluid in it and do that 2 or 3 times, it basically sucks all the old out and replaces it with new, and you never introduce any air into the system.
Okay.
Now, if you introduce air into the system, then you're just a different situation.
Right.
We
And
ran into an issue with the analog module thing on the Softail when we did my handlebars.
Yeah.
So you might have to take that in and have that reset as well. But like Tony said, if you maintain the vacuum on it, it shouldn't be terrible. My Sportster was a piece of cake.
Yeah. If you
change
don't
the-
have anti-lock, it's easier for sure.
sure. And the other thing too to mention is that I do know this for a fact. Brake fluid is very inexpensive. So
Yeah.
that
Just
would be
don't
one of those
get it
things.
on anything.
Well, I don't masturbate with brake fluid
No,
either.
just
so.
Just
in
Amsoil.
case. Just be
Amsoil.
careful because if you drip that brake
Eats
fluid
paint.
on stuff, it'll eat your paint. So just be mindful.
They
of
make
that.
a .5 that doesn't eat paint. It's a synthetic and it doesn't suck up as much moisture as .4. I think when I redo mine, I'm going to replace all mine with .5.
Oh, there you go. So what about something like your fork fluid? Should that be something that you mess with?
Well,
I actually pulled up the service manual while you guys were chatting.
I don't have to, because basically the oil in mine is just for lubrication, because
Would
I
you
got
like
those. I got the
The drop-in.
the drop-in
Legends.
cartridges, the
Okay.
Legend cartridges.
I got lucky because we're going on almost 2-year anniversary. Me almost dying, and a trucking company paying for my fork change and all my brake fluid.
Nice. Would you like to know what the service manual says?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Read
Sure,
it to
sure.
us.
So, and of course, this is for a soft tail. It might be different for like the touring bikes and whatnot, but it says front forks, disassemble, inspect, rebuild, and replace fork oil every 50,000 miles is what it recommends.
Okay.
There you go.
There you go. What does it recommend for brakes, Brittany?
Let's see. Brake system happens to be right below that. It says flush brake and clutch systems and replace .4 and clutch fluids every 2 years or sooner if moisture content is over 3%. It did say up above you should be checking it like every 5,000 miles to make sure that there's not moisture buildup in there.
Yeah, you can get your little pin
Holy
tool.
shit.
You can get a little pin tool that you can stick in that fluid and it'll
Yeah.
check it. I've got one.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. There you go. There's another overlooked. I've never done that. I've never
mean-
checked my.
Brakes are pretty fucking important, Ryan.
They are.
There's kind of an important
But
piece.
if they're
of the
working,
puzzle.
you don't think about it. You're like,
Right,
all
I
right,
mean-
we're good to go.
It's an important piece of the puzzle. I mean, I typically use my throttle more than I use the brake, but
Yeah,
you know.
but I'll tell you what, when you go to hit that brake and it's not there, you got to do some quick fucking thinking.
Well,
This
you're
might be a good
This
one.
is true. I do have two though, right? You have a front brake and a back brake, so
Yeah.
I mean, at least I have a fail safe.
I guess. Do you guys clean your battery terminals?
Yes, I do.
I'm not surprised by that because I'm
You're
sure you tear
you're
some-
just barking up the wrong tree here. I mean,
Do you guys? Do the rest of you?
You know,
Because your battery's not always easy to get to on some of these bikes.
Every now and then,
Yes.
if I take my seat off, I'll clean up under there and I'll look at that kind of stuff.
yeah, mine's a straight, and Dave's is the same thing. If you take a seat off of a touring bike, it's some straight fuckery underneath there, because the whole computer is on top of the battery.
Right.
So you got to move all of that shit, all those connectors, and if you've put any accessory lights on your bike, all that shit is underneath there. You got to move
Yep.
all of it to get to the battery. The battery change on a bagger is not.
the Softail sucks too.
Yeah, it's not a lot of fun. It's
No.
some straight fuckery underneath there. I have cleaned my terminals because I hooked up an accessory for my
The
heated gear.
Yeah.
So I did clean it then. So Dustin just had some 66 Uranus beer. It looked like he was
Straight from
drinking there.
Uranus.
Straight
That's
from
some-
Uranus. That
that's
that
some
looks like it's straight.
liquid.
That looks like it's straight from your bladder.
Yeah.
yeah.
If you're pissing like that, you need to drink some water.
Go see a doctor.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
need to drink some water, man, because that shit's not only looking that color, probably smells a little bit like baloney.
This shit's not filtered yet.
I got some Tito's and orange juice.
Tito's, and that's at Texas vodka, isn't it?
Dude, I love our local
It's
liquor
good,
store
yeah.
in the next town over because their sign said, "Show us your Tito's." Yeah, good
So-
marketing.
So, Dave, tell everybody out there, do you do any of these servicings on your bike, or do you truly just bring it to the dealership and they do them all?
Anything that's a pain in the ass that takes time, I have the dealer do.
Okay,
Well,
so pretty
and-
much,
but-
much all of them is what you're saying.
But on this bike, I'm still, I got that prepaid maintenance where you save all
Yep.
the money. So
Right?
Yeah, hell
I'm-
yeah! If
I
you got
just
that,
actually-
use it. Yeah.
yeah, I just tonight made the appointment for my 15K next month when I get back from Germany.
Let me ask you this, Dave. I took my Sportster for the 1,000-mile service, and that was the only one. How long do they keep your bike? I mean, is it a quick turnaround, or is it?
It's usually in and out same day. I mean,
Same day, so you're
Sometimes
not-
I'll wait for it.
Okay, so it's pretty
Yeah,
quick.
so it's not
Nice.
that much. But I know the 15K I think has a little extra stuff
Little something
with it,
something
and then
to
of course I got the 20K is my next one that's supposed to be the bigger one.
I
Yeah,
think it all.
that's a
I
lot
think
of
it
the
depends
stuff.
on. Yeah, I think it depends on the actual dealership itself and how they schedule their services and that kind of stuff. Whether you can sit and wait or whether you have to come back and pick it up.
I just know they're expensive. Man.
Well,
I,
and
I don't know
it-
what they
you
are.
know,
in
the
your
other
neck of
thing
the
though,
woods, but-
in my situation, my dealer gives a lifetime warranty on the drivetrain. So I've got
If you buy that service plan.
not if you buy it, just as long as you have them do the service on your bike.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Right. So they have a record. They know you're actually doing what you're supposed to do.
Yep.
And for me, I've done my own oil and stuff like on the Fat Bob, but
Yep.
it's not worth it to me. I just assume,
Sure.
just like my Beamer, I'm not going to do the work on that either.
Sure.
I just take that in.
I think there's still the idea of the reason why some of those are because you get to know your bike a little bit better, right? But I can see how valid, because you paid a price 2 years ago for your service plan, right? These interval services have gone way up in price.
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
we've seen it. Yeah, we've seen
Yeah.
it in our Discord.
Yeah.
$500 for a 20,000 mile service.
Fuck, it's a $500 for a 1,000-mile service.
Right. So if you paid $1,800, even $2,000 for a 3-year service contract that your intervals are covered for 3 years or whatever it is, whatever you have, Dave, whatever you paid for, you've made that money
Oh
back
yeah,
already
easy. I mean,
in your time and oil and supplies and everything.
I think
Yeah,
I
but
paid.
when they sell you those things, they're banking on a cat like me that doesn't put that many miles on the bike. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they don't go through all those services. In the 3 years, they maybe only go through maybe
Right.
2.
Right.
You know, but Dave fucked them right in the ass.
yeah, I think I.
He's
I
got
think
his
I
bike
paid,
up there every 3 months.
Right.
Going-
That's not a lie. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think I paid $1,800, and I got the first 5 maintenances: the 1,000, 5, 10, 15, and 20.
Right.
So
Well,
at that point, I think it worked out to where the 20 was free if you based on what they were charging. I think.
Sure.
But-
Now, the way that I did it when I got mine is I didn't buy the service plan because I was thinking, dealership in Jamestown where I got my bike was 150 miles from my house, that kind of stuff. Now the dealer's 100 miles away, right? Is the closest dealer
Yeah.
close to it. But what I did get was the wheel and tire plan, which I think is worth every fucking
100%.
That's
Yeah, 100%.
without a doubt. Hands
I mean,
down.
absolutely, because I know that I got my money out of it because I got a nail and mine was in the sidewall, so the tire had to be replaced. It couldn't be patched. You got your money out of yours, Dave, because
Yep.
you got a railroad spike in yours.
Not
right?
only that was my third tire. I've had 3 rear tires in the first 9 months I had the bike.
Okay, so Dave is again fucking Harley with the wheel and
Dude,
service
I
tire.
mean, Dave didn't even take a step back. I mean,
Right.
he's just nuts to butt.
Right, he is. He's balls deep in that.
Yeah, he is. He's just slapping nuts. I mean,
Yeah.
just
So he's winning all day long with that one. But the other reason why I say is that we're getting into riding season right now. And what does every road in the Midwest have after wintertime? Huge fucking
Dude, our
potholes.
fucking roads here are awful.
Right?
Fucking awful.
And
Yeah.
every year I see somebody post a picture on Instagram that they hit a pothole and just fucking tacoed their front tire, their front
Yeah.
wheel.
And good luck getting a replacement still. They're still hard to get.
Yeah, not only are they hard to get, but they are not cheap, right? That
Fuck
wheel
no,
and tire
dude.
plan I think was $1,200 when I got mine, and it might even have been less than that.
I think
Just
it's
look at-
like I think it was like $850.
Yeah, mine was
right.
under
There you go.
$1,000, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the cost of one rim. One
Oh,
rim
yeah.
is more than
Yeah.
$1,000. So if you taco your rim, you pay $50 and your rim is covered.
But
You
then
get a
again,
nail in
they're
your
banking
tire,
on the cat. that-
$50 and it's covered. So
Yeah. So I think the other reason that I kind of, and I know it's not popular, people say do your own work, but another reason I like having like serviced at the dealership is because I do put so many miles on it. And I know these guys go over my bike because they know I ride a lot. They go over my bike with a fine tooth
Then
comb.
they know
you
what
know.
to look at too, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
if you don't do it, they do it every day,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, and there-
I do my own oil changes, but I still had a tech look at it a couple weeks ago and look over everything because I plan on doing some trips this summer.
right.
So I want to make sure everything was tip top.
Remind me, guys, for the wheel and tire plan, can you buy that at any time, or do you have to do it like when you purchase your
I
motorcycle?
don't know. Yeah,
I think it
you could
depends on the
probably get it.
dealership.
Yeah,
Okay.
you could probably get it.
I'm just curious. Like for me, I bought my bike out of state, so
Well, there are third party
Yeah.
plans like that you
Yeah.
can, I think, get anytime. You know,
Yeah, we have third party plans.
The wheel and tires, that's really the only thing I get.
that's a no brainer. That's just,
Yeah.
yeah.
And again, I think it all goes to kind of to Tony's point too. He's like they're banking on guys like him maybe that don't put a ton of miles on. You don't have to put a ton of miles on to get a fucking nail in your tire.
No,
though.
you don't. And,
Nope.
I mean, a tire's one thing, but a rim's something completely different.
Yeah.
You fuck up a rim, I mean, you're
down.
dealing with commas in that
Yeah.
repair.
Yeah,
And not periods, you know what I
you're
mean?
down completely. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, you never know when you take the wrong turn, and you could end up in a construction site or
Or a
like
concrete plant,
a concrete
you know?
quarry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or running out of road, right, Dustin?
Yeah.
Oh man, so
I'll never
close.
forget that time we were on that frontage road alongside Route 66 and
Speaking
ran
of
out
that,
of road.
I ran on some new roads today after I finished work, and I got out for a couple hours and I rode. Like I said, new roads I'd never been on before, so everything was a new experience. I was riding alongside this road, and it said road ends 500 feet, and that just brought me right back to Route
Running out of
66.
road.
I'm like, if Dave was here right now, we'd
That
be
was so
laughing.
funny, man.
You
Well,
hear me?
you
I'm like,
never-
Dave, stop! The road's
Yeah.
there's no more road.
Dustin
We
disappears
hit
around the corner.
We
It's
hit
like,
the
fuck.
corner hard too. I hit the corner doing about 50, and all of a sudden there's no road.
You never know too. You might plan a trip with your friends sometime, and somebody might book a VRBO at a murder house with a highly suspect frontage road that you have to drive on.
And a porno shop right in
Yeah.
front of it.
And a
Hey, I
Porno
big
sent
shop
you
board.
on
a
one side
screenshot
and a
of the
Baptist
road.
church on the other. I mean, and you're smack dab in the middle of it with the worst road ever you could drive on. That
Down
could
this
happen.
road here, we
You-
commit a
you
little
don't-
city
you can't
sin.
regret it,
sin.
though. We've
I
had
mean,
so many good stories.
I'm
since then.
not saying it happens on every trip, but it could happen, and you could find an entire pube spider in your shower.
That's at the Great Wolf Lodge.
Oh man,
Just
Dave,
terrible.
I'm pretty sure Dave had the pube salad in the shower he was in.
Get tangled up in your toes.
It was threatening. It was a threatening scenario.
hold the onions,
So gross.
hold the
Come out of the
cheese.
shower looking like Bigfoot. All the
I mean,
pubes caught in your toes.
You got a pube shower in the murder house you're staying in. You walk outside and there's like a toothless hooker standing like 10 feet away from you. I mean, it was a great fucking place.
I'd go back.
All the way.
You
to
know, a
Uranus.
hooker that has her teeth removed is dedicated. She's dedicated to her field right there, boy.
Master of craft.
She is master of craft. I need to have all these teeth
Oh.
removed.
Oh my god.
How do you explain that to your dentist? What do you get your teeth removed for? Because I suck dick.
Exactly like that.
Exactly like that.
Get extra money.
Yeah.
This is like, this one's on the house.
And in Kentucky, they ask the same question, and she says, "Cause my cousin likes it better."
Oh, Jesus.
Ryan
We got a
just
lot of
throwing
listeners out there from Kentucky, Ryan.
Ryan's just throwing shade on Kentucky.
I'm telling you.
That's all right. He lives up in North Dakota.
It's true. It's true. We're out here clubbing baby seals to stay
Yeah.
warm. burning seal.
All I
blubber
know
for-
is there's not
for
that
heat.
many people up there, so do the math.
There are some religious communities up here that I won't name specifically that do ask for studs on occasion to come in and rebranch their family trees.
We need a couple sprouts. We need a couple sprouts off this trunk.
We've lost a good 40 or 50 points in IQ in the last
Yeah.
2 generations. We need to brighten up this Christmas tree a little
Johnny
bit.
over there has an eye coming out of his asshole, so we're gonna need to.
Things have gotten a little dim around here.
Pool's a little shallow, know what I'm saying?
The toothless hooker.
Any of our Pennsylvania friends out there probably know what we're talking about.
Oh,
Damn, dude,
Lord.
just piss off the whole country, Ryan.
He's just making his way
That's what he's
across.
good at.
Wait till he goes west.
Our Patreon just dropped 5 members in the last 2 months.
Oh,
Is that because our trees don't branch? I mean, come on.
if they did, they either can't take a joke or it hits a little too close to home.
Either way, I'm sorry. Or
Either
not.
way.
Anyway, if you would like to join the FDB Patreon, go to 530bikers.com. Click the link on the homepage.
If your family tree does not branch,
We don't
We need more
discriminate. We
help
make fun of
now.
everybody.
that's right.
We need to start a new thread in the Discord, the branchless tree.
I've spent the last 30 minutes throwing bombs at my closest friends. Perfect stranger, I don't give a fuck about you.
Oh shit. Yep. Well, that was sideways.
Welcome to the 530 Bikers podcast, everyone.
You're welcome.
Hey, speaking of, we should talk about that charity bike. How we doing with our goal for May?
We're doing good, man. I don't know if we're gonna hit our goal for the 1st of May, but
No, I reached a little high for that, but I mean, still, we've had a good response. I
Swing
was
for the fences.
I was allowed to share it through work on social media and stuff, and there'll be some email going out about it from Ted's Motorcycle World. So they're nicely letting us promote the bike through them too.
That's really cool.
so
Very
thanks
nice.
to
Thank you, Ted.
Yeah.
Big props to them for letting us do that, because then any response that we can get, I did notice that the Autism Charity has been posting a little bit about it on Facebook
They
and on their
did, yeah.
Instagram.
I can't
so,
open up Instagram without seeing a picture of it.
Yeah, it's on there. It's on there a lot. We have,
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I need to give a shout out to JT. JT's a patron. He's a friend. He's come to a couple of events. He comes to FDB, and Jay has been posting every time he sees something on Facebook, or maybe some of the places that we might not post often as much to specifically, he reposts things. And so I just want to thank Jay for doing that. I know that there's so many of the FDB family out there that have reposted the bike, bought tickets, that kind of stuff. I know that my crew buys tickets every month, and I really need, we can't thank everybody, but I just want to thank a couple people that I know specifically that have done that. And there's been a lot of great people that have been reaching out and buying tickets. Jared's posting about the bike all the time, and every little bit helps. And we have a few months left before we give this bike away, and we really do want to make sure that we can do the most with it and raise the most money that we possibly can. So,
Yep.
And for you all that don't know about the bike, it's a David Mann chopper replica. You can go over to 5dirtybikers.com and check it out and buy your tickets there. Really cool motorcycle.
oh, look at that thing.
I've been handing out flyers, and as I travel around and talking to dealers and people at the dealerships and stuff, and the everybody just goes gaga.
It's
Yeah.
a panty
Love your bike.
dropper. I mean, it's a really
Yeah.
cool motorcycle.
Our ladies in motor clothes have been handing out flyers like with every purchase,
Yeah.
and I'm about out. But
Nice.
we did order some more, so I'm gonna start canvassing the region.
And Dave, you've been canvassing the East Coast, passing them out whenever you can.
Yeah. Hit up dealers and go in, and everybody's been great. When I was on down in Texas visiting my new granddaughter, actually we hit up a dealership, and I was out talking to people and handing out stuff. So
That's good.
Nice.
people
It's
like
always
it.
always good to get out there and get the word out on that bike. So we should get to Discord. I think I know we've got some Discord
Okay.
questions
Hey,
that we have not answered.
before we go there, can I show you this?
Oh, yes.
What?
How was that? The first one just knocked the cherry right off.
Yeah, I didn't go with any small little piece of shit either.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
You went big. You go big or go home.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like
Well,
it.
good.
Found a good artist, and
Is it
he did
scabbing
it-
up?
He did it exactly. No, it was great, man.
I mean, it's not like flaking up now.
No,
Not
I've been
yet?
washing it and putting Lubriderm on it, and
Yeah.
it's he did the brush effect just like I like what I asked him to do, and
So what does that say?
it's the logo that I've got like on the bike and everything. It's Kaizen.
Oh,
Which
it's
is
the one that was
basically-
on the Fat Bob.
Yeah, it's on the Road Glide too.
Oh, okay. Oh, where's
So
it
you
on the
know,
Road Glide?
change is good. It's on the fairing.
Is it?
Yeah, you've been struck with the beauty of the paint, and you just didn't
I
notice.
guess I never noticed
Yeah.
it on the Fat Bob. It was right. It was prominent, but yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
noticed it.
But
on
no, it wasn't as bad as I thought. I mean, it took him an hour and a half, and we didn't take any breaks. And he kept saying, "Look, it's don't
Doesn't
worry
hurt
if you
that
want
bad,
to take a
does it?
break."
If you get a lot
well,
of black, they usually do because they do an outline and then they come in and just back it
Yeah.
over.
Well, no,
Yeah.
he did a little different technique on that.
I figured he would have to with the brush look.
He was going bottom up, and he was doing the outline from from a brush perspective, but then filling, and then outline, then fill. So he didn't like outline the whole thing, then go back and
Interesting.
and do the fill. But it was it's good. It's fairly big.
Ryan, you
Yeah,
need to
no.
show for the YouTube version. You need to show the tattoo that you had done because I don't think you've showed it on.
I
on the
probably
show.
haven't. Let's see if I can.
So
see if
I'm
Oh,
I can get a
getting
picture of it.
the exact same tattoo as Ryan, and I'm actually gonna make my appointment here probably this week. But look at that
Yeah.
to
Fuck, I'm gonna
commemorate
have to
what
get
we're
that.
this autism bike build that we're doing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Shout out to that artist because
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead and shout
Yeah.
him out because he did a great job with that, man.
Looks good.
So the guy that has done all of my work, his name is Justin at True to You Inc. And he only takes appointments over Facebook. And I will tell you, and just the way that he does his artwork, he doesn't do small pieces anymore. So unless you have an established relationship with him, but he does all pretty much larger pieces. And so he's the one that's been finishing my sleeve. I'm hoping I'll have that done by this winter. So I have a space in the back of my arm that I'm going to let him do whatever he wants, and then it'll be filler, and my right sleeve will be done. So, and it's been a long process, but yeah, I was I just had the perfect space for the logo. It fit perfectly in there, and he knocked that skull out of the park in that
Yeah, it looks
logo.
All
great.
the
mean,
details in that, I love it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, he didn't miss a piece of the detail, so I was really happy. And then I asked him to throw that separate puzzle piece below it, just as a just to make sure that there was no mistaking.
Well, Dave,
the idea
Dave
behind
will
it,
be
so.
back in 2 weeks to get another one.
Yeah.
It's like a Lay's potato chip, man. You just can't do one.
Well, so it's interesting. I found this place last fall when Walter and I we met up for lunch somewhere, and they had a tattoo parlor next door. So I went in, talked to him a little bit, but 8 months later, I called up and made a consultation appointment, and Miss Percy went with me because we were going to eat next door for dinner afterwards. And I talked to Danny, the owner, and told him what I wanted, showed him the sample that I had, and we talked through it. And I'm like, so let's do it. I just make an appointment, come back, week, 2 weeks. And he says, we can do it now, which I wasn't prepared for him to say. So I think Miss Percy said there was about 5 seconds of total silence. As I sat there and looked
It's
at
like,
him. and
man,
then
I
said,
really got to do this.
Yeah. And then I said, yeah, okay, let's do it. So it took him about a half an hour to do up the stencil and everything. And then sat down or laid down when he was working on the arm. And he told me, he said, I knew the minute we were talking, you were going to do this. So we'll just do it now. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to come back for at least 2 more.
Yeah.
So let's just, let's get that out of the way right now.
How cool would it be to throw in some like orange swirl stuff around that to match your bike?
I don't want color.
No?
No, just stick with, I like and the
You like
effect
the black
looks,
and white?
the brush looks really good.
It'll look better when it settles in too.
Yeah.
He's gonna Percy's gonna do a silhouette of a big samurai on the inside of his arm now. You watch.
Of a big dong.
Look at that look on his face. He's like, this
have a
motherfucker
big-
guessed it.
Big sword dick.
Big sword
Dick sword.
Big dick sword. So let's get to Discord before we get too late here.
I don't know where you guys left off last week.
Because I think Brittany's ready to go to bed because it's a little
We
after
we got a
8.
lot.
It's
We got a
7
lot
Central.
to do.
It's a little after. Yeah, it's a little after 8 here. So hear what Twisted
Good
Journey
God,
has
this
to
is
say.
a long one.
Ooh.
Oh fuck
All right.
that! Skip.
Here.
Go the next.
No, come
I'll
on.
just read it. It's all good. Okay, he says, this is a multi-part question and is more for the new multi-day riders. What things do you do to secure your bike overnight? I'll pause there. What things do you guys do?
I put my shit in the garage.
Okay, let me read the second part then to help. So it says, what things do you do to secure your bike overnight? Then what kind of places do you prefer to stay at? And what do you look for in a place on a bike trip?
For multi-day rides.
So like if you're like
Yeah.
when we all went to Missouri, you talk to the people at the hotel and they were kind enough to let us park our bikes right by the front door.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, they could keep an eye on them all night.
I don't think we would have had a problem there anyways. It's a military.
Yeah, I
base
don't
right
think
by.
so. But I mean, here's the deal. I mean, you can use your fork lock and it's going to deter some people. But if somebody wants that bike, they're going to get it.
Well,
I mean,
I think it depends on what kind of bike you got, right? So like when I
Yeah.
had the Fat Bob, I used a disc lock, that goes around the disc. I don't do that with the Road Glide. I just do the fork lock. But I think, and it's funny because Nomad Matt and I were actually talking about this Saturday night because I unfortunately picked a pretty shitty place for us to stay. So I picked the hotel. I mean, we walked in that
the
Saturday
rub and
night
tug.
and someone was in the lobby, not a military, a civilian, looked like a teenager, wearing an armor vest, like military with plate armor in it. We were
That's
like,
when you turn around.
That's weird.
we'd already checked in. But
Oh,
I think for me, it always starts with kind of picking an environment that's relatively safe.
Yeah.
That's step one.
if you
the
don't
type
know,
of hotel.
Bear and Arms might not be a bad idea.
Yeah. So I try to stick to I've got lifetime status with Marriott. So I try to stick to Marriott places if I can find one that's affordable. That's not too much because they normally let me just park my bike up underneath the overhang or on the sidewalk. I usually don't have to worry about that. So it's close to people, where
Yeah.
people are gonna see it.
The last time we were in Kentucky, I think it was just this last year or what? Maybe no, it was 21 when there were some of us staying over there by Bluegrass,
Yeah.
the old Bluegrass. The clerk at the front desk, she let me park my bike under the the awning there in front or
Yeah.
whatever, the drop off spot. She's like,
Yeah.
bring your bike up here because it's supposed to storm. And I'm glad it did because it did storm that morning.
Yeah.
Or you just go with my theory. That's the reason I have insurance. Take the motherfucker. I'll go get a new one.
Well, sometimes they won't let you do that because of fire regulations, safety regulations.
Yeah.
But and I think let's go back. Step number one: if you've got a Harley, put the fucking siren on the alarm. It's $75. It takes 5 minutes to do the install, and you've got an audible alarm if somebody jacks with your bike.
Yeah.
I think that's the first thing to do.
Me and Brittany got bags you could just take right off and take into your hotel room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done that.
But I mean,
Yeah.
if somebody wants the bike, I think the touring bikes are different. But a Softail or a Sportster, if they're going to pull up in a van. 5 or 6 guys are going to jump out and put the motherfucker in
Dude,
the back
I've
of
seen
the van
Gone
and
in
drive
60
off.
Seconds so
Yeah.
many times. No vehicle is safe. No vehicle is safe.
That's actually what happened. If any of you guys remember, that's what happened to the Ornery One's Road Glide 2 years ago at Sturgis. That thing was picked right up off the ground because he had the fork lock on it. It was picked right up off the ground. It was fully loaded. All of their gear, everything. It was picked up and put in the back of a van and drove away.
Yeah,
Gone.
I mean, that's the
So,
thing. That's the
if-
reason you
if
have
the-
insurance. I mean,
yeah,
you can.
if they
do what you
wanted
can.
everything, all of those things are a deterrent, right? But you know
Yeah.
what? One thing I've heard of that is actually a really, really good deterrent for people to fuck with your bike.
A 45 Colt.
Well, that works. But you can, that what are you going to sleep by your bike with your gun out the whole time? You know what I've heard is a bike cover.
A cover.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
just raises
you-
everybody's curiosity.
No,
You know what?
it's
It's there.
Honda on it.
Wow.
If it's a
Only
Honda bike
just-
cover on your Harley's safe.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I like it.
Or an Indian cover.
There you go.
No, but seriously, have you ever seen anybody walk up to a cover that's on a bike and lift up the cover, right? It prevents people from sitting on your bike. It prevents people from touching your bike because it's covered. So
Yeah, no,
I've
that's a
heard
point.
that the bike cover is a great deterrent.
I'm going to go get an Indian cover tomorrow. Nobody'd ever touch it.
The last thing I will say, if you're planning trips, one of the things I've been doing the last couple of years to try to save money is I've kind of embraced motel life a little bit. So if I can't get a Marriott, then I'll typically
Red
go
Roof
to a
Inn.
motel where I can park the bike right outside the window, right of the door or the room. I've got the audible alarm on it. Lock the forks. If someone jacks with your bike, you're going to hear it.
Okay.
And you can.
There's
I might
there's a
go
third
get that siren, Dave. That's a
there's
good.
a third-
I've never put it on.
there's a third option that you can do that follows along with Dave. You can even go a step below that, and you can go real old school and find a $65 a night motel, and you park your bike right in that motherfucker. You take the bags off, you roll it right through the
Reel
front
it right
door,
in the room.
and you park it right in the living room.
No, if you've got a soft tail, I mean, that's not a joke.
Nope, it's
Yeah.
not. I'm not
I mean,
joking
you're
at
not-
all.
You're not going to get your road glide in there, but
You're talking a place
yeah.
where it says vacancy or no vacancy in the window.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
talking
Exactly.
about fucking
Yep.
goddamn Norman Bates.
Yeah.
Motel.
Dave,
Yeah.
I beg to differ. You take your bags off your bike, you'll roll that thing right in that
I'm not
right into a
going to
doorway.
risk fucking up my paint on the doorway now.
He says he ain't doing it.
Let them know you're there.
Come through hot, hook that
So-
fucking grip.
He says what kinds of places do you prefer to stay? That's all on your budget and the kind of person you
Yeah.
are and where you like to stay. That's a personal preference, you know.
Yeah.
He said things like examples: hotels, vacation homes, Airbnbs. Airbnbs are probably pretty safe. Campgrounds, if you're camping, I'm never going to do the Scooter Stamp Scotty way and go find an abandoned school or some seedy truck stop or something. I'm that's not my jam. But I think you got to go with what you're safe doing. Camping next to your bike is never a bad idea, right? Set up your tent right next to your bike. If anybody fucks with your bike, you're going to hear it because they're right there
I
by you.
prefer an Embassy Suites.
Well, but yeah, and it depends on the trip you're on, right? Like I'm going out, when I go out to Sturgis, I'm not fucking camping. Who's got time for that?
Who's got the
Right?
back?
I got
for
a
that?
destination to get to.
Right. Well, yeah, but you're talking about camping on the way. What if the person wanted to camp at Sturgis? Because if you're sleeping next to your bike,
Right. Well, I said it
And-
depends on the trip, right?
Right.
If you're traveling to get somewhere and you're
Right.
on a schedule, to me, camping is just
Right.
overhead you don't need.
and if you're camping next to your bike, and to Dustin's point, and you rack around into your gun, they're gonna walk away. They're gonna think that it's probably
Unless you don't know
not-
unless you don't know how to use the gun, and then they're
Well-
going to take the gun, slap you upside the head, and shoot your ass.
It still doesn't matter. That goes under. Let's fuck around and find out.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
How much are you willing to fuck around? Because you're probably going to find out.
Yeah.
Always keeps one in the chamber.
Yeah.
It puts the lotion on its back.
All right. What's the next question?
Next one is specifically for Ryan. Jay Sherman says, "How are you enjoying Winter 2.0?"
Oh, Jay Sherman can eat a bag of dicks.
And
there you go.
Next.
The next one is from Phil B. Says, thoughts about what kind of models may be announced throughout this year and next, i.e. Sportster, Road King Standard, etc.
Have you guys seen that Street Glide
Yeah.
concept that's out there? I think
not
that's
a concept.
It's
bullshit.
not a concept. They
Not a
announced it
concept, it's a real
Thursday.
bike.
Oh, that's for real?
Yeah.
It's so the CVOs are going to have a larger motor, not the 131. It's a 134, 135. It's a bigger motor. They have the smaller bags. It's performance mod. The lights are built into the fairing.
Yeah, but but hang on. It's not the smaller bags. They're new bags. It looks like Indian bags.
Yeah, it's their new
So
bags.
does the fairing.
And the fairing is a
and the
different fairing. And from what I understand, this is not the same motor that's in the Pan Am. This is a liquid cooled. This was a liquid cooled M8.
It's an M8. Yeah.
It's a liquid cooled M8.
Okay.
And where
I guess
did
I
you
haven't
find
seen
this
that yet.
information?
It-
Yeah.
They're
There-
all over. It's
It
all
came
over
out
Instagram.
Thursday, I think. There were announcements somewhere. I've seen
Like on
documentation on
Harley's
it.
website or just
Yeah.
on
I
the
think it came out
internet?
through a
be-
magazine, didn't it?
This will be, I would guess, at the 120th is when you're going to see this bike drop.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Why would Harley let a magazine reveal something before them?
It was all over the place Thursday. I mean, they had
There's
photos and
there's been leaks out for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, I remember Jared showing me some stuff, but I don't
There-
remember seeing
Dave
a
and
lot.
Dave and I talked about it because there's been leaks of the redesigned Street Glide or Road Glide fairing, and it looks pretty janky, but it's all the angles are fucked up, and they took pictures from a downward angling up, and
It's like a
everything's
21.
distorted. and-
ultra wide lens or something.
yeah,
weird
ultra wide
shit.
lens.
Yeah.
Everything is distorted, but
121 engine. Okay.
So I
haven't
mean,
heard- I
that's
haven't
the
heard
big.
anything about
that's
this.
the big thing. I think at the 120th, it's going to be that maybe the new Road Glide.
I was
Yeah,
hoping we'd
it's-
see
yeah.
the Street
yeah,
Glide.
it's a new Road Glide, new Street Glide, and this is only offered in CVO models
That's all they're talking. Well,
to start with.
the specs, yeah, but we don't know whether the rest is going to,
Correct.
going to be on the normal
Correct.
human affordable models.
Right. Exactly.
Fuck,
haven't
is
heard a
the
thing about
CVO even affordable? I mean, I just looked at it. That thing's $52,000.
Dude, I saw Matt and I saw a CVO.
There you
go.
No.
Down at
There it is.
Bayside that was probably the most beautiful CVO I think I've ever seen. And it's that white, not white. I hate white bikes. This isn't white. It's that new
White sand
Dustin.
pearl.
I'm sure you've seen it. It's
Pearl.
absolutely,
White sand pearl.
It's
absolutely.
probably the
beautiful.
color of that bike that you just showed
Or
us,
is it
Dustin.
the Silver Atlas metallic? Because that color is awesome because it looks blue in darker light and it looks like almost white. out in
Yeah,
the
no,
sun.
this one's the other one.
I thought it was Moonlight Seaman.
Okay, next question.
Oh, Tony.
Next.
I got a feeling that people are going to start fucking with Street Glides next after the Road Glide phase is over.
Could be. This next one's from Deep Freeze Bob.
Oh,
This
Bob,
is for
Bob.
Dave. This is for
Yeah,
Dave.
Bob, Bob, Bob,
I
Bob.
too have been scoping out coffee joints for Sturgis. He says
Cool.
Ryan could be grumpy and we will be highly caffeinated.
There you go. I'm with you, Bob.
Ryan
Hey,
will be drunk and
I've-
angry.
I've been preparing for this trip to Sturgis also for for Dave and Bob to be drinking their coffee. So I bought a couple of packages of adult diapers that I'll be bringing along for Dave and Bob to wear, so they can drink as much coffee and shit and piss themselves on their bikes as much as they want.
You realize a lot of people have been coming out in the Discord and in comments and saying, "Hey, there's nothing wrong with riding somewhere for a good cup of
all
coffee."
three of them, Dave.
I enjoy a cup of coffee. I can only have one now, but I enjoy a cup of coffee.
Tony's blood pressure goes so high.
Yeah,
it
my
strokes
blood
out.
pressure goes up. Can't have more than one, but still.
The next question is for Tony. J Money 33 says, "How many trips to the gas station have you made this year?"
Every time I go out, I stop at the gas station.
Well, how many?
Hey, we already talked about that. Tony rode a bunch of miles this weekend. So
It was the gas station Kentucky Tour 2023.
Yes, and guess where I
Yeah.
stopped on the way home? The gas station. You know why? Because my
White
shit
Swallow
has a
Spa?
full tank of gas.
Very nice. Very nice.
White Swallow Spa.
Oh, check out this next question, which technically is not correct, but this is Tony's question from Belated Binge Podcast.
Well,
Most of the podcasts started on Sportsters and did hammer conversions on them. Not true. I think
true.
most of us had Sportsters, but didn't do the hammer except for Tony.
Tony,
Yep.
yep.
Did you do that work yourself? Use a shop? Did you run into any issues?
no,
Mr.
I
Cox?
did it all myself in my garage. No issues at all.
Right.
It's actually, if you follow the directions, it's a pretty simple install. It's intimidating as fuck. Because after I got the bike apart and I looked at it with the pistons hanging out, I was like, oh man, I fucked up. But I think one of the things that saved me is I paid the extra $75 and they gapped and mounted the pistons and the cylinders for me at Hammer. So all I had to do was slide the cylinder down and put the pin in. So I didn't have to do any gap or anything like that on any of the pistons, which made it a lot easier. I thought it was worth $75. But no, it's pretty straightforward.
When you built your YouTube channel basically off that series of videos, didn't you?
I really didn't do a video on that because it was more in depth and I didn't want to fuck stuff up trying to do that and film it. So I really didn't film it. But after the fact, I did a lot of videos about it. But it's a huge difference on a Sportster.
Tony built his YouTube channel on a tool that he used to put the gaskets in
Exhaust
his exhaust gaskets.
Dude,
that
I saw
video's
that
got like
shit.
185,000 views.
I saw that
Yeah.
shit on Fix My Hog.
Yeah.
They bumped you on that. That was awesome.
Did they? Yeah. No, it's yeah. That was the hardest. I was like, why are these motherfuckers so hard to put in? Doesn't make sense.
Well, here's an idea. I know some of us aren't really putting out videos anymore, but go ahead and plug your YouTube channel because I don't know if the listeners may or may not know. But
Mine's hard to find. It's Tony Cox.
not the Black Dwarf from the Santa Claus movies.
Yeah.
who goes by the same name.
It goes by the same name. And stay tuned because there might be some videos coming.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh my!
What's
He'll
your
know
channel,
in a
Ryan?
Mine is KidMoto22, which is the same thing that I use on Instagram.
Brittany,
Mine is Marvelous Maverick Moto.
Dave,
Being Here Now with Percy. And Dustin?
and I was D-Dash Cycle.
You was? Are you going to change?
Dude, I really want to pick up that Route 66 series back up this year.
You really need
So
to.
D-Cycle. D-Cycle
I know
might
one
make
thing. I know one
might
thing
make
for
a
sure.
triumphant return.
When Ryan and the White Walkers come down, we're gonna go to that Shell station. You guys are gonna check it out on the inside because it's like going back into time, like back to the 20s. It's fucking
Nice.
awesome.
Cool.
Yep.
Well, I
D-Cycle
still
might
have my
make a
D-Cycle
fucking-
cap, so don't go changing names.
I do too. And
Got it
not
because-
only that, but we decided we're trying to test our metal because we're thinking we got to start heading out west in the next couple of years for our trips, and so we are going to do all the way down to Dustin's in one day, ride with Dustin for 2 days, and all the way back in one day.
The
So,
fuck?
Nice.
yep.
What's that
That'll be a
like?
trip.
Dude, you've lost
eight-
your fucking mind.
What is that like? It's like 800 miles.
Yeah, it's real close to 900 miles.
We
Yeah.
thought
So
you were
we'll
nuts
do-
for doing that in a car.
Yeah.
So,
so
let me ask you this: what is
Yeah.
the shortest, like, iron butt thing you can do?
1,000.
1,000 miles.
1,000 miles.
No,
yeah.
do they have anything shorter than that? Like,
No.
so
No.
1,000 miles is.
They only
1,000
have like
miles.
So
bronze
you,
butt.
if you do 800 in a
1,000
day, you get fucking nothing.
Nothing.
That's right.
Yep. Nothing.
Not 999 in a day, you get nothing.
Yeah,
That's
and you have to
just a
collect
real
the
butt fucking,
receipts,
isn't
and
it?
you have
Get
to
a
be taking
bottle of
pictures
aspirin.
of your odometer and receipts, and people have to sign shit, and it's a whole process.
So
to-
they don't
to-
have like a little
just those-
like.
just
I'm
those
a
They
some
do
plus
have,
500
they do
miler?
have like
No.
a butt burner, Tony, where you don't have to do it all in one day. They have a couple that are like over the course of 24 hours or 32 hours.
Well, no, I was
think.
just curious if they're going to bust out 900 in a day. I didn't know if there was something, that they had that something. Nothing.
Nah. And the thing is
Those
that,
common cocksuckers.
It-
I
what are
mean,
you
what
gonna
is it
do?
with a K? Can't we go with 500?
I mean, and what are they going to do, right? So you do 1,000 miles, and they give you a patch, and then you have 2 more raspberries on your asshole. I mean, it is
It's
what
true.
it is.
It's
I
true.
mean, it is what
I
it
got
is.
this patch, and I've got this stem of grapes hanging out of my ass.
Right. Now, you can, I say that. There are feats in motorcycling. I don't think the 1K in a day is really a measurement of anything anymore. I mean, what Hopper did, 100,000 miles in 100 days, you got to be fucking kidding me,
Yeah.
right?
Or
The
Brits,
four-
or
Witt's 48 and 10.
Yeah, Witt's
I
48
mean,
and 10 is fucking insane.
Yeah, it's insane. So I mean, and there are guys that are doing these kind of just insane. Or have you heard of Iron Butt rallies? It's 17,000. It's 15,000 miles in 17 days. It's 1,000 miles a day for 17 days with like a one
Do you know
rest day
who's
built
not
in.
going to be doing that?
I could,
That
I
would
can
be
take
a
pretty good
hard
guess.
no.
So
Speaking of trips and riding bikes, me and my buddy Roger are planning a trip to the National Motorcycle Museum because it is closing in September, on September 4th. So we're going to go in late June and head up to Anamosa, Iowa, and check that out before the doors shut this year.
Where the fuck is Iowa?
Iowa?
Iowa.
It's like one
fuck
state
is Iowa at? What's it by?
Cedar Rapids.
Nebraska.
Cedar Rapids.
It's one straight branch south or north, Tony.
Yeah, it's one straight branch.
That should be fun,
Fuck.
though.
All these uninhabitable states.
That should be fun, though. We might
There you
camp,
go.
we might hotel. I don't know. It just depends on what's nearby.
Oh, Volts had to get his dig in too. Volt's question of the day is: has Tony traded his bike yet?
Not yet. It's pretty dirty though.
Dot, dot, dot.
No, I think no, really. I think I'm keeping this one for a minute, dude. It's a great motorcycle.
And
Is
you've
it a great motorcycle now, or was it a great motorcycle when you bought it?
It was a good motorcycle when I bought it. With the stuff that I've done to it, it's a great fucking motorcycle. It
you're at
really
the
is.
point of no return, Tony. You've done too many things to trade it in.
I mean, it's fast as fuck. It rides great. It handles well. I mean, it does everything that I want it to do.
Dude, you've got 2 fucking sets of bags for it now. You can't get rid of that bike.
Yeah, no.
You're in too deep.
The guy who started the podcast with no windshield and no bags,
Yeah.
and now look at this fucker.
2
Well-
different types of eggs.
I do like these little essential bags though. They're all
pretty
you
dope.
need for just
Speaking of
day
windshields,
trips.
I want to give the guys at Memphis Shades a quick shout out because they're setting me up with another windshield because I have the 11-inch vented for summer, right? Well, I threw that on last week because we had some nice weather, but I was getting pelted by bugs. I mean, my whole shit here was caked by the time I got to work.
Yeah.
So I figured if I got one, a few inches taller, that it would help alleviate those problems. So thanks, Mike at Memphis Shades, for hooking me up.
I'm a 15-inch man. big
That's
fan.
hell
not
you
what
are.
she said.
You're not 15 inches anywhere. You don't even
Around.
have a 15-inch inseam, dildo baggins.
Hey,
Hey, while we're talking about sponsors, I want to give a shout out to Wild Ass.
wild ass.
You know, week before last, I rode with a group of friends up to Gettysburg. And we made like an all day thing of it. Did not have my Wild Ass on because I wanted to do a little A/B testing because I knew I was traveling this last weekend.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah, that's what I call it. I got that day. My ass was
It's just
burning.
a little sore, wasn't it?
burning a little bit. And we probably only did about 200 and a little over 200 miles that day. But Matt, Nomad Matt had his Wild Ass on. We just went down to Portsmouth, like I said
You
before.
all are
and
raw
back.
dogging it.
That was 500 and something miles round trip, I guess.
Did you bring your wild ass on that one?
Yep. And was fresh as a daisy when I got off.
Fresh as a daisy. Bullshit.
Fresh as a daisy.
You just didn't have. You just
well,
didn't
let's
have
just say
any
I
new,
wasn't sore. I might
You
not have
didn't
been
have any new
fresh.
hemorrhoids going on down there.
Yeah, but that I am a firm, and I'm not saying this because Craig's a sponsor. I'm just a firm fucking believer in Wild Ass. Out of all the pads and gimmicks and shit that I tried,
Yeah.
this is the only one that worked.
Yeah,
It works.
This
Speaking-
motherfucker's good. Yeah.
Speaking of that, does anybody know the difference between the San Diego Customs Saddleman and a regular one?
It's
Yeah.
substantial because I've sat on some at the dealership and they are totally different seats.
Yeah,
Are they
'cause
really?
The one I have on mine,
Yeah.
it's
Oh.
completely fucking different. So much
it was
better.
so
Okay.
because I bought one of those on the Fat Bob. And my understanding is that SDC did the design and everything on that seat, and Saddleman produced it to their design and their specs.
So it's a different. It's not.
It's completely different. I've
Yeah.
I've sat on Saddlemans before, but that SDC that I had was light years above like a
Yeah,
regular
that's kind of
Saddleman.
what. That's kind of where I was this weekend. I was like, "What in the fuck is the difference?" Because it's so much better, and I didn't know if anybody knew if it was different padding or if it was gel or if they had a different cut or what. But
I mean, I'll have to look into it, but everyone that's come, every trade-in that we've gotten into the dealership, every performance bag or whatever that's had that seat on it, I'm like, this seat fucks.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like the Saddleman Step Up, I've sat on everyone I've sat on. I've like, this thing is ass.
I wanted to get that SDC on my Road Glide, but everybody and their brother was getting it, so I decided
know it's
to just have
rounded.
LePera make one.
in the back, it's
It is.
got more of
Yeah.
a round
Yep.
bucket to it than just that hard fucking 90-degree angle.
But just the quality, I thought the quality on mine was, I think, head and shoulders above any Saddleman
it's
that I've
comfortable,
seen
man.
before.
I know that it is a comfortable seat.
Are they
All right, do we have
are they
any more?
are they still $1,000?
It's 500, I think, 500 or 600.
They're not much more than a Saddleman, I think.
Yeah,
If I
a little bit
remember
more.
they're
correctly,
about-
I think I paid
Saddleman's
like
about
maybe
$4.
$100 more.
Yeah.
A good seat though is worth its weight in gold.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
You can't put a price on a seat.
And no matter
Yeah.
what seat you get a Wild Ass put on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You'll get at least another couple hundred miles out of your
And
day.
3-4 horsepower.
Add another 50 horsepower. 50.
Ass
That's
power.
it for Discord.
Yeah.
That's
That's
it. That's it.
That's it.
Well, there we go.
Sweet. Happy times.
Appreciate you guys asking questions, and I think we may have skipped. We had so many questions over the last several weeks. We try to hit as many as we could,
We do. We try to hit them all.
but we've got a new baseline, new starting line now.
Yep.
And we've
So
got
now
the chatter police in there. Brittany won't let anybody talk in there.
Nope.
Has to be
No.
questions only.
It was getting way too hard to like find the questions. So
She's got those new papers now. She doesn't need glasses. She's gonna go in there hot.
Yeah.
Yep.
Start
Well-
calling her the Hubble. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another show of Five Dirty Bikers podcast. Make sure you go check out our charity bike at fivedirtybikers.com. Join our Discord. It's fucking free. Until next week, keep it dirty.
All right. So if you're listening to this Monday morning, come on Monday night. We'll be doing a YouTube live
What day is
on
that?
whatever day that is.
That's the first. Yeah.
May 1st, May Day.
May
May
1st.
1st. May
What
Day.
up, May?
Yes.
Bam.